Hello, third graders. Today, we are going to be talking about the art element, value. Now, many of you are familiar with value because we've used it when we're doing still lifes, in second grade when we did our oil pastels. We're going to focus in on highlights and shadows. And as you can see, the highlight where the light is hitting, the shadow that's casted on the other side here. And we know that this whole foam cone is actually all white, right? But as we zoom in a little closer, does this whiteness seem the exact same as this one? How are we going to portray that to our viewers when we're drawing it? So today we're going to focus in on a grayscale. We're going to break it down and do a nice, neat job of taking the time to understand how to create value, okay? I'm going to walk you through step by step. You'll be using a ruler, a pencil, and you're in your sketchbooks on the value page, okay? And it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll even get to sneak in a little color as well. But it's something that many of you, now especially because we have a good understanding of three-dimensional forms as well, it's going to really transition your artwork the rest of the third grade school year. Because you're going to give me realistic looking drawings from here on out. All right, artists, go ahead and get your materials ready. Hey, boys and girls. Today we are going to be focusing about value, which you've heard. You're going to be working in your sketchbooks. You're going to be using a ruler today, and you're going to be using it to measure, but also to create a straight edge. Now we know that art has a lot of best friends, math especially. So be ready today to use your right brain and your left brain as we use a ruler to help us create a grayscale. You're also going to need a pencil, and we're going to be in your sketchbooks in the art element section. You guys are very familiar with three-dimensional forms. You'll see that that's a big part of today, along with our grayscales. Now, a couple reminders. In the classroom or at home, is our ruler for a helicopter? How about for drumming? No. What about for a sword fight? Nope. That is not what our ruler is for, okay? So whether you are at home or you are in the classroom today, I want you to make sure that you are using these resources appropriately. All right, artists, get yourself situated because we are going to begin. All right, boys and girls, today we are going to be talking about value. Now, value is familiar to you because in second grade, we started to focus in on using value when we made our oil pastel vases. We talked about highlights and shadows, right? Now, as third graders, we focused in more on the idea of a still life, those highlights and shadows, and the word three-dimensional forms, right? Implied three-dimensional forms. What we're going to do today is we're going to take a really close look at the value scale, creating a grayscale, and you're going to get to use a ruler. Remember how we talked about math and art being really good friends? Super good friends. So you're going to feel a little bit like you're in math class today. But what you're going to do is we're going to create a scale, and then you're going to take what you've learned from that scale and apply it to an implied three-dimensional form. Go ahead and say three-dimensional form. Value. This is a sketchbook lesson. So in the first part in your art element section, find your value page. Okay? You're going to get your ruler. A couple tricks. In a pinch, 2 fingers is an inch. So if you are one of my distance learners at home, you can go ahead and find a ruler. We're going to use it mainly as a straight edge, but we are going to be doing some measuring today. So for example, when I put my fingers right next to the edge, and I'm almost at the 1, that means I'm at the inch side. Some of our kiddos here in school, yours don't say inches, they say USA. That's okay. But what's going to happen is, if you are on the wrong side, you're going to know because you're almost to the 3. Okay, do we want to measure in centimeters and millimeters today? No. So repeat after me. In a pinch, 2 fingers is an inch. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead. I may need to turn my sketchbook. If your sketchbook is more of a vertical one, you might go horizontal with it. so that you have enough room. Okay? First things first. Holding that ruler steady is really important because I want a very straight line. So from the edge, okay, you have to be on the edge, all the way to the 6 is going to be our first measurement. Now I took that pencil lead and I pressed it into the side of my ruler. Next, I want to make just the littlest mark going up, making a vertical line every inch. So I went on the edge of the ruler, my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How long is my line that I've made? It is 6 inches. Very good. Very good. Now, when I remove that away, I have a 6-inch line, and every inch I have a tally. Okay? Don't be afraid to move your paper so it works for you. Now I want to go up by 1 inch. Notice how I line the edge of the ruler up. With that line, I hold it steady with my hands, and I go ahead and I stop at the 1. Okay? I'm going to slide up here, and I'm going to go ahead, holding it steady, all the way up to here. Okay? I turn my paper back. Am I just going to finish this line now? Oh, no, I have to use that ruler. I want it to look crisp and clean, because with a straight edge ruler, we have all that capability. Now, a little personality insight for me. How many of you guys left the house with your bed made this morning and room extra organized? Raise your hand. Okay, I see some hands up. How many of you guys? Okay, we've got a good raise of hands. That's a little personality insight for me. How many of you guys, your bed's not made, but your room's pretty clean? How many of you guys look like a hurricane took place in your bedroom? Okay. Well, it doesn't matter what type of personality you have. I do think you're really going to enjoy having the ability to use this ruler to make it look really nice and neat. So I have the start of my grid. Those tallies I made to begin with, I'm going to finish them. I'm going to hold that ruler steady, use it as a straight edge. Use it as a straight edge. Use it as a straight edge. And you're going to notice you're using nice, light artist hands in case you have to do any erasing, okay? That looks pretty nice and neat, right? Very different than if I were to go like this. And just kind of guess. This isn't horrible, but is this what I want to see? No! We don't want to see that. I want to see you using that ruler. You have that tool. When you get this done, either Miss V or myself will give you a check off, okay, or a smiley face, and it means you get to go on to your shading, okay? So let's go ahead as we take a close look at our gray scale. So if you know how to write in cursive, you can go ahead and write nice and neat for me and write gray scale. Okay? We're going to go from white to super dark, only using our pencil. Any guesses how we're going to make that happen? Ava? Yeah, the pressure that we use with our pencil. Now again, don't be afraid to move your paper around as you're doing it so you don't get pencil mark all over you. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with my dark one on this end. You're going to see me using a back and forth, but you can, if you want to, move in circles. However you want to fill that space, doing a nice, neat, even job. Is this square probably going to represent highlights or shadows? Shadows. Very good. And depending on how bright the light is, the more dramatic the shadow. Okay. You're going to see me change direction. Do you think after I'm doing such a nice, neat job, am I going to want to scribble outside of it? No way. And I might even go back through and go other directions just to get this nice and dark. Okay, did all right. The next one, I want to go a little bit lighter. Is my pressure going to be as hard? Nope. And then I'm going to go back over it. Not as hard this time, but a little bit. And then you're going to see me go ahead, and I'm going to go over here just so I can get a good idea what I need to do to have my color, my gray, all the way to white. Okay, this is an okay start, right? Then I go ahead and I fill it in. Can you tell the difference between this one and this one? Yeah. All right. Even lighter. Okay, look what you're going to see me do. Did it work? If you have any cleaning up to do on the outside, you sure can. But did I create a grayscale? And if I were to turn the lights on, it would be even more apparent, but for some reason, I get a little bit of... What do you think? Cool? Now, you're going to take this idea, and you're going to take a three-dimensional form for me, right? Or maybe a sphere. Pick where you want your sun. Where's my highlight going to be, on side 1 or side 2? Okay. I'll go ahead then. Curved lines are important because I want this to be an implied excuse me. Then, am I probably going to have a shadow too? You bet. Sometimes those shadows aren't perfect depending on how they're being casted, so just keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to use your finger to help spread that around. Okay? Use your eraser to help create that highlight. Make sure it's not too perfect though. Do I have an okay start? Yeah! Okay, you're going to be able to do that to a couple different ones. Everybody go ahead and say value. Abracadabra, wada-wazoo. When you're done, you're going to have 2 three-dimensional forms for me with highlights and shadows. Sorry, that wasn't a good rhyme. But I want to be able to see a very distinct, nice and neat grayscale. Artists, go ahead and open up your sketchbooks to your value page.